All right, welcome back to Two Song Podcast. This is Chris.
And this is Cam.
And this is a show where we try and sort every song ever into one of two categories, either a love song
or a fight song.
Yep, exactly right.
And this is episode 130 of our show.
It is, and that one intro that you just heard is kind of a giveaway because we don't always have words, lyrics, I don't know what you call them,
Right.
when they're not sung in our intros. Like, for example, what's the first lyric in Sweet Home Alabama? Is it Turn It Up or is it Big Wheels, you know? But in this one, you hear a legend, an absolute comedy god among men, Adam Sandler telling people time to take out the menorahs. And this is the Hanukkah song part 2. So if you remember, we're doing off the beaten path kind of holiday songs you wouldn't think of, and we picked this one because the weekend this episode comes out, at least in this year, is the start of Hanukkah. So we're like, dude, we did Hanukkah song 1 last year, and this is a sequel to it. And I was shocked to learn that this was from the late 90s. So an album called Stan and Judy's Kid from 1999. And I was like, he was fully in movies. Like, he was a movie star. He'd been off SNL for a few years now, and he was like, and I want to do albums as well. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and live stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess he was touring stand-up / like a alt comedy act, you know, if he had a band and had his guitar and stuff. So interesting. But honestly, that's in my opinion, the brilliant way to do it. To be like, this one gives me publicity for this one, and they just like feed each other.
Yeah, very cool.
But crazy. But sorry, I think you were gonna say something about is this lyrics when he says time to take out the menorahs.
I don't know if I really had anything.
Yo, is Turn It Up a lyric, or is that just a thing?
I think it's not a lyric.
Kind of an ad lib.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Like his Make Me Cry in the Pearl Jam song, is that a lyric? But anyway, I love Adam Sandler. He's one of those celebrities I feel like, I'm not patting myself on the back, it was maybe the wrong thing to do, but like Shia LaBeouf, I've still not given up on Shia LaBeouf. Maybe I should have. And Adam Sandler, to me, when he fell off and maybe was making movies that he wanted to make, and maybe was kind of in his comfort zone a little bit, people were like, these movies aren't even funny, they're lame, it's the same couple or a handful of stars over and over again. I was like, yeah, but he's still Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And then he had a rebirth. Like, he did a couple dramatic roles, and people were like, have y'all seen this new guy? His name's Adam Sandler. It's like, dude, yeah, we've been on Adam Sandler. He, not us, because we have pretty good childhoods, but he raised some of us, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he was very influential. So, yeah, I don't know. I've always been a fan of the Sandman. And I'm also a fan of the fact that he's worth $400 million and he dresses like a bum. I think it's so funny.
Yeah, very cool. Hilarious. Yeah, and we only have a handful of people that we've done repeats. Handful of artists that we do multiple songs for.
Darn, that's a great point.
He's among the greats in that regard.
You're right. Wow, yeah. Honestly, yeah. Adam Sandler and Taylor Swift are the same. Exactly the same. As it goes, Blink-182, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Adam Sandler.
Yeah. And Sean Williams.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sean Williams. Yeah, dude, Sean Williams is really on Adam Sandler's level if you think about it. I love that. Well, this is one of those songs that is so fun and so lyric heavy. So it's kind of like the music is just a vehicle, just a venue to support the comedy, and happens to be in lyric form.
Yeah. Good point. But he has a lot more going on than he did in Hanukkah Part 1.
Really good point, yes. And you mentioned that he's doing live stuff, and so yeah, you can really, really hear like the crowd in this one. Like, the mix is a lot better, I suppose. For like enjoying it as a live album or a live recording or whatever. but maybe if you're being a purist, worse, because you're like, gosh, there's a lot of crowd in this. But I think it's cool, and I like that it tells you right away, like, oh, this is a live performance. I think that's neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it starts with applause.
Yeah.
Screams.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's cool that in the intro, you can hear the people that recognize the strum, that recognize the song from that first strum. Or a couple, once they hear the rhythm of his guitar, and then you hear everyone else figure it out whenever he says that it's time to take out the menorahs.
Yeah, you're right. There's always those people that like get it the millisecond. They're just in tune to it.
They've been waiting. They were probably waiting for it the whole show, anyways.
Probably. You're right.
All right, you ready to hear this first verse?
Yes, let's do it.
Not verse, just starting right off with the chorus.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's such a brilliant. It's like, dang, it's hard, I'm trying to think how to say it. It's like lowbrow but brilliant at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the pure idea of it is brilliant. Of what does the industry support? What does the market seem to have a demand for? And then go, I think I'll do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And see if people respond to it. He even addresses that in this one and in Hanukkah song. It's kind of like a lot of movies when they weren't supposed to have a sequel or whatever, like they would just call it the movie. Or like if a movie came from a TV show, it would be whatever title, the motion picture.
Oh yeah.
So this one is Hanukkah Song Part 2, not to be confused with Hanukkah Song and then nothing else. Because the original was just the Hanukkah song. So yeah, like the first two, he calls out like there are too many Christmas songs. And so I think it's so neat to do something like that that's just straight up wrong, not smart, not advisable. And so neat to have the courage to do it, but then also make these crazy, dumb Adam Sandler puns like Hanukkah.
Yeah. No, he's having so much fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is an interesting structure because it's weird, like every section of the song is so just good and pure on its own and fun and nice to enjoy, but the verses I think stand out, just all the references, like back to back to back to back to back, but it makes them like it's a nice tie into the theme each time you hear the like thing about Hanukkah and the little forced like name game kind of things he does with Hanukkah every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like he has a formula or template now, and then he can just do some research, find some names, and work them in.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, and let's think about this too. Like now, like you said, he has a template and can do the research. But imagine the time the first one came out, or even this one.
Right.
Like, what did they research back then? How did they do it?
Oh man, yeah. He just knew the people around him that were Jewish, probably.
He just had to, I guess, like think, like make a list or try and brainstorm as many people that were Jewish that he could think of and be like, all right, now I'll ask my parents. Now I'll ask like my other friends in entertainment.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting because now you can like look it up pretty easily or get an idea. But back then I wonder if it was kind of like you have to ask a couple people, like, is
to fact check.
Yeah, fact check that person's like ethnicity, or ancestry or whatever. Like, I'm trying to think. For example, like Jon Stewart. That just comes to mind because Jon Stewart and Adam Sandler are buds, and Jon Stewart is in Big Daddy. He's like his best friend,
Wow.
But Jon Stewart's real name, what Jon Stewart's mother and I call him, is John Leibowitz. So you could be like, yo, Leibowitz is one of us, right? And he's like, yeah, of course he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so interesting. Like, what would you do? Like, go to the library? Like that?
Yeah, or just call these people up. I don't know. You can't know all of them, right?
True. You know what? Maybe the ones he does know, he could, like, try and get in touch with their agent in like around this time of year and see what they were doing. Like,
yeah, because I wonder if he was like checking to see if they cared if he put their name in the song.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have to, but it would be nice. Like Weird Al supposedly asks every artist before he parodies a song.
Oh man.
And he doesn't have to.
Dang.
I think it saves him a little headache if he does, but all these people are public figures, so just saying that their names rhyme or that they
were in the PGA Tour.
that's like a fact. I mean, some of these are jokes, and maybe he does know them. Winona Ryder ends up on a project with Adam Sandler later, so that's not a stretch. But say something, bad publicity wise happened to folks that make Manischewitz, to be like, whoa, did you just associate me with that brand? I'm just so. But then again, like I said, they're public figures, and I reckon you could just, make a song about them and also say it's comedy. What do you want me to want from me? I'm a comedy.
Yeah, good point.
But it's strange because it's like that little chorus, a short little hook, then like a pre-chorus, only a pre-verse.
Yeah, it's like just the setting the scene pre-verse.
Yeah, I know, it's odd.
Intro verse.
I really like the intro verse pre-verse thing, just as a big Adam Sandler fan and a person who was very blessed to be the right age at the right time when 8 Crazy Nights came out.
Yeah.
Like that. I feel like people much older and much younger cannot relate to that movie in the slightest.
Yeah.
And I'm like I said, I feel blessed that I was the right age for it. And so when I hear him talk about 8 Crazy Nights, I go, oh man, like I wonder if he was working and outlining and knew what was coming down the pike for him.
Yeah. I know, it's so cool he got to make that movie. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Should we hear this next little part?
Yeah, let's do
it. Cool.
Yeah, no, it's a very dramatic beginning to this song.
Yeah. He really hams it up. I mean, he really makes it hard to get into it, hard to have any momentum in the song.
Yeah. I know, and the crowd's kind of throwing him off a little bit, disrupting him here and there.
Yeah. But I like the way he laughs. He used to do that a ton when he would try and play songs live on Saturday Night Live. He would laugh in between lyrics and have to shake his head and try and shake it off. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then of course, I guess part of him and Chris Farley's bromance was Farley trying to throw him off. When they did Lunch Ladyland, Farley made it a point to distract him. But yeah, I don't know, as an Adam Sandler fan, I can just picture him at this age. I feel like I can. And I don't know, to me he has a very recognizable laugh. So when I hear it on a song, I'm like, oh dang, that's awesome. It does the heart good, and I like to think about him enjoying it.
Yeah, being happy, having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna say this later, but it doesn't not fit here that this is the perfect sequel, because there's so many callbacks to the original.
Yeah.
Here's a list of people who are Jewish, and in this one he incorporates that same lyric, but works another list, right? Let's see it.
A new list.
Here's a new list, but that's 2 syllables that aren't in the original.
Yeah, that he works in really well.
Yeah. And there's other ones the tie-in with OJ. He brings OJ up again.
Yeah, no.
And then he brings up Showbiz, but this time not Tom Cruise, but another big A-list celebrity.
Oh yeah.
And it's just so neat because I'm trying to think, for comedians and guys that kind of write and produce their own movies, Sandler's not a sequel guy.
Yeah.
There aren't any. There aren't sequels.
Good point.
Except
for Funny People.
Oh.
Too.
I was gonna say except for Hotel Transylvania.
Yeah.
But that's more they borrowed his star power than, because it's not a Happy Madison movie. It's just I think it's just a DreamWorks. And there's so many other talents in there. It's we'll get Sandler too, boom, but that is a common critique of this genre, this class of comedians that Adam Sandler falls into.
Yeah.
Like the one I'm really thinking of and can't get past is Wayne's World. It's like Wayne's World 1 and then Wayne's World 1 a little bit later. Like people just say that those movies are the exact same and they're not.
Yeah.
Neither one's very good and stuff. And like Wayne's World 2 is just a remake and it's blah 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 blah. But I think with the Hanukkah Song Part 2, there's so many new references and it's clever.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's not just like as you said, if it does follow a template or formula, it's not boring. You don't feel like you've heard it already. I don't anyway.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was saying before we started recording, I think this is the Hanukkah song that I'm least familiar with. I guess just the original is important, and then the one in 8 Crazy Nights.
Mm-hmm.
But and then probably after this one, the latest one, I'm not super familiar with. I haven't actually seen is that special. Yeah, okay. No, I've heard it's great.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of take this episode from here.
All right.
You should. It's so. There are parts of it that you just like. Well, to be fair, I haven't seen Uncut Gems, and people rave about that and say, "Man, he had this in him all along." To me, when I see his Netflix special hour, whatever you want to call it, I can see the Hubie Halloweens and the like Wedding Singer and some of the times where you're like, dang, this guy can really, really act.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love and Spanglish. I can see that in that special because it is so good. He really brings it. You're just like, man, what? This is the same guy that like pretended to fight Bob Barker. Gave this really moving tribute to late Chris Farley. It's crazy. It's really good.
Cool.
But yeah, I think that one probably, because I don't know where else it exists, so that one's probably not as familiar. And it's new. It's just it's just way newer than all the others.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, I feel like we've been holding off long enough. Should we hear this first verse?
Yeah, let's get to the good part.
Dang, man.
Oh man, yeah. This is these are such cool like snapshots of the time too. I mean he does a good job of picking people that are like mostly still relevant. But just with Beastie Boys and Courtney Love, and Baywatch, you know. I mean, I'm not exactly sure when Baywatch was popular, but.
See, it's crazy you said that because I was going to say that a few references in this one seem like edits from the original. Seem like, oh, I ran out of room, or it's too long, or I'm not finished with that lyric, because I would say that Courtney Love also died April 9th, 1994, or whenever it is, because it became just straight nosedive for her personally and professionally. And then, if Courtney Love was walking on the street, I wouldn't recognize her, you know?
Yeah.
And then Baywatch was like early 90s, but I feel like that's very Adam Sandler. That's like an Adam Sandler thing to be, if you were obsessed with the beautiful women on Baywatch, to like dwell on it and cling to it. Always be in middle school, even though it's 1999 and you're worth $50 million or more, or whatever. To be like, dude, I love Baywatch. You know, I have them all on VHS, and just like, what? Aren't you rich and famous? And I don't know if he was married at this point. Probably dating or engaged to the woman he's married to. But it's like, so it's very on brand and a very funny reference.
Yeah.
But I was thinking those two were a little dated. But other than that, everybody else, it's kind of weird how he picked such good picks.
Yeah.
Like Winona Ryder's career will not die. Her star will not go out. And I'm not saying it should. Same thing with Lenny Kravitz. He might be the most timely reference in that verse. Like Lenny Kravitz's songwriting and performing career probably was at its peak around like Y2K.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I like how this one sounds though. Like you said, it's a much better produced live performance. and he's got a pretty good band.
He does have a good band.
Cool stuff. I like this bass player.
Well, I was gonna say that the pre-chorus kind of thing where it's after the lyric about putting Courtney Love and Lenny Kravitz together, there's like a 50s to 60s rock kind of thing where there's like a real tense note, like a real transition chord, and it's like makes you want to lean into the next part, you know. And then there's another one kind of at the end of, and yes, her boobs are real. There's like another one of those things where it's like you can just feel that the song wants to keep your attention for the next part.
Yeah.
But there's a weird thing the bass player does where he's like bouncing between two notes in the first one, like the build up to "We Got Harvey Keitel." There's like a little weird thing he's doing there that I just go, dude. One of like every other note is not the note you should be playing, in my opinion.
Yeah, he picked a bad one.
But I agree, his band gives a really good performance overall, and he sounds good.
Yeah, he does sound good. Kind of seems like he's been able to do this a lot. Or something like he's just a little bit more polished than he is in the first one. The original.
And I was gonna say to me, I'm trying to think of another person to compare him to, because I was gonna say that he has like a few different singing voices. I guess maybe Chris Pratt kind of. You know how Chris Pratt would sing Parks and Rec all the time, and it was like sometimes he was singing like a Pearl Jam grunge wannabe. Sometimes he would sing like Dave Matthews. Sometimes he would sing just like a guy singing, you know, like kind of like himself. Yeah. And I feel like Adam Sandler in this first maybe half the song we've heard so far, the verse and the chorus and the pre-verse thing, it's like a little bit Adam Sandler, a little bit a character, a little bit the wedding singer. You know, it's like a lot of different tones, and I'm not opposed to that. I think it's neat when singers can vary the way they sing, but it's just weird because I don't want an audience member to be like, yeah, but he can't sing, like he's really not that good, because he is. I think he's just self-conscious about being serious, you know? Like he does not want to too. Yeah. It's like I don't want to be vulnerable and have you like hear my singing voice. I'd rather just do it and say it's funny.
Yeah. And Ryan Gosling too, I've heard.
Yeah.
Says that.
He does say that. Yeah. But yeah, that's true. Because whenever someone showed me his band, I was like, I can't really tell it's him. Like, it doesn't sound like a singer to me. It's hard to explain. But well, you know what's so great about this is the chorus is really recognizable. The first part, put on your yarmulke, it's time for Hanukkah. But it's cool that there's a different person that worked into the chorus.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not just using the Hanukkah pun again.
Yeah.
He picks a new one.
Yeah.
Cool. You ready to hear that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. He put so many syllables into that line.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to.
I know.
It's cool though. It's fun.
Yeah, it's like when people in Hollywood wanna like say their resume every time they do something, or nothing at all for that matter. Anytime, just to say it. Like he can't just say Dustin Hoffman, because at this time in the late 90s, Dustin Hoffman had done so many things. I mean, he was A-lister already. I would argue he still is, but he like gives him his credits too. Isn't that interesting?
I know, it is.
And you're right. It's not the like it's a better rhyme. Hoffman is like, or Hoff. The way he said the Hoff is more like Hanukkah. Hoffmanica is like perfect, or mostly perfect, and it gives you that thing where it's like a little bit gibberish and like a nursery rhyme. So you're like, dang it, I'll be like probably singing that all day. That'll be stuck in my head all day. Crap.
Yeah, that one is an earworm.
And it's cool that you can hear the crowd like just being like natural. Like there's some things that they cheer more for, and some things that they just get just a natural pop or a natural reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think they had to make a conscious choice to have them be as loud as they are. Like, they were mic'd. Which I wonder if it's that kind of, that like sitcom thing where it's like, hey, this is where you should laugh. Like, you know, they're trying to let the album listeners know what was the real hitters.
Yeah, dang, that's definitely possible. I hope not, but you're right, that is possible. Yeah, and I've heard a little, like, you know, sausage making 101 kind of thing about live albums that maybe people don't want to know. Like, I don't want to watch documentaries about the farms or whatever and like the animals and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've heard, and I'd be interested now that I know this to know which specific ones, like point to some of the best 10 or 20. But supposedly a lot of live albums are like fixed after the fact. Like if something is too flat or something isn't enunciated enough or something isn't loud enough and it can't be just adjusted in post, it will be like re-performed, like re-recorded.
Taken to the studio.
Yeah. So I saw a guy one time made a YouTube video about like a lot of your favorite live albums aren't live.
Oh man.
I was like, dude, no. But I don't know that Sandler would do that. I don't know that he's that much of a perfectionist. And I feel like what we were just saying about he doesn't want to sing seriously, he would be like, yeah, but it's funny. I'm goofing off. I like doing funny. It was fun for me. It was good. You should have been there. If it doesn't come through on the album, well, that's too bad. Like, I don't think he's the type to go redub.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have been like, I don't really like every other bass note that you were playing, but just leave it in.
Yeah, just keep it. Yeah, but I agree with you. The crowd is mic'd. I mean, a whole like setup. It sounds like 'cause you can really hear him. It's weird. It's more than just. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's like it has like a shape to it. Their audio, their sound.
Yeah.
Like I can almost imagine the size of that room, and there's some live recordings, maybe even the original Chanukah song, where I can't really.
Yeah.
I can just know there's people there, but it's very hard to explain. I don't know.
Yeah. Nice. Well, you ready for verse 2?
Yep, I was just about to say that. That'd be perfect.
Let's go.
Man.
Yeah, that's a fun verse. So much in there, man. He does a Scooby-Doo impression.
Yep.
A good one, too.
He does do one, yeah.
Can you tell if he says a word or if it's just like kind of a sound, a Scooby sound?
I think it's just Scooby sound. I think he's just in that laugh he does.
Yeah.
But the Bruce Springsteen thing gets me almost every time. It's so awesome, and it's such a boomer thing to be like. I'm trying to think how old Sandler would be. I don't know.
Is that the same person he says I heard his agent is?
That one's Tom Cruise.
Ah, thank you. But is it like kind of the same place in that song? Because the way he says, but my mother thinks he is.
It's identical, but I heard his agent is.
Yeah.
But my mother thinks he is. Yeah. It's so good to just know that Bruce Springsteen is a legend, and you know he's like a wealthy New England housewife favorite singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, and his name's Springsteen, so you just know he's Jewish. And it's like, he's not. Nothing about Bruce Springsteen is authentic. Just that doesn't ruin it for anybody. But I love parts of this verse, and then parts of it I think are a little bit mailed in. I think it's so fun that in the original O.J. Simpson, there's an audible, visceral boo.
Yeah.
And this one's like they rarely react. Somebody whistles.
There's a whistle.
but then he gets, to me, something that's more rewarding. Still not a Jew, and people laugh.
Yeah, that seems like the biggest laugh in the whole song.
And I think it's weird to say that like somebody's still not a Jew, like you're waiting on somebody to convert. But he name drops a famous athlete that did convert in the first one, which I'm pretty sure, and he references a guy, Robert Zimmerman, one of the best songwriters of all time, aka Bob Dylan, who at around this time just told everybody, "Oh, I'm gonna do the thing that all the elite Jews do and become a Christian." And everybody was like, "Yo, what?" And then he was like, a few years later, "No, I changed my mind. I'm going back to my roots." And everybody's like, "Dude, is Bob Dylan losing it or what's his deal?" So I think it's funny that he brings that up. Like Bob Dylan was born a Jew, then he wasn't. Now he's back.
I know, because it kind of sounds like he's saying not that he wasn't a Jew briefly, but that he wasn't even really born a Jew. Like denying his origin,
his heritage. Yeah, that's very funny. To be like, he wasn't born a Jew for a little while.
But now he is.
Yeah. It's very good. But I gotta admit, I think the reference to his own career in movie, like, breaks the fourth wall in the fourth wall or something like that.
Yeah.
To me, it's too much and it's like a little, like, distracting.
Yeah, it takes me out of it, and it's like a forced rhyme that, like, he just picked the most famous golfer just to be like, "Oh, did y'all know I have a golf movie?"
Yeah. Well, and Tiger Woods is, like, multi-ethnic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's Jewish, but you know how Drake is like 4 different ethnicities at once, and he's also from 3 different places somehow simultaneously.
Yeah.
I remember briefly a little bit of discussion when people kept saying Tiger Woods was like the greatest African American golfer, one of the greatest African American athletes ever, and Tiger Woods correcting a few people, being like, "I'm mixed race, like my father and my mother," and like, but I don't think there was ever a question about him being of like Jewish ancestry, but I don't know. But I just think it's funny to be like that. It is confusing what exactly Tiger Woods is. But he doesn't belong in this song, but I kind of do, you know? But you're right, I think it is a little weird to be like, how should I? Because he's not in the first one, except to be the songwriter. You know, like, I wrote a song for you and me, Jewish kids that feel a little left out this time of year. And then, I don't know, then later, like, Happy Gilmore is a character in the song, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's not saying, like, I'm Jewish, because we already knew that. He said that in the intro thing. But he's saying this character is. And also, I don't remember a bar mitzvah scene, but it's been, like, probably a decade since I've seen that movie. So
that's another reason why I don't like the lyric.
And doesn't that happen at a certain age? Like, didn't he not get bar mitzvah on the PGA Tour? Did he even go on the PGA Tour in the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
There's that.
But, yeah, I know it is a little bit like bar mitzvah is just when you become a man, but you're right, they do traditionally do that in church with some reading from the Torah at about 12 or 13 with a big party afterwards. So yeah, he's a grown man. He's a hockey player who, I'm trying to think, like in a lot of his movies he's not religious at all. Like you mentioned Funny People earlier, he's anti-religion in that movie. He brings that up a couple of times. He's like, when I was little, my parents were like, "Are we this?" Or I would say to my parents, "Are we this?" And they're like, "No." And then, "Are we that?" And maybe. And they'd say, "No, we're nothing. There's nothing." And he goes, "Okay, well, should I sleep now?" You know, he just like says that too in one of his bits. Yeah, in Happy Gilmore, there's not time in that movie for any of that stuff. As I say that though, maybe he's some variation of Christian in that movie, because he goes to his happy place and he sees chops in heaven and stuff, you know. But anyway, it is tricky because Winona Ryder is not Girl Interrupted or the daughter from Beetlejuice. She's Winona Ryder, and then he's not Happy Gilmore, but Happy Gilmore's in the song, so yeah, it's clunky.
Yeah, definitely. Which it's kind of funny because you started this episode by just saying like, it's kind of maybe the right way to do this, where he's like promoting this while he does this, and then he did it in the song too.
Dang, I did say that. You're right. I wonder if this was like a tour and it was like this exact thing. Like that movie was a massive hit and he was working on the next thing and promoting the next thing, and then it was like, well, while I'm doing press, book me some spots and I'll do an act and I'll do, I don't know, man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It cuts against my own thesis and like praise that this is a great way to do it. He did it, and we're like criticizing him for it. Whoops.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out so much.
No, it's alright.
That doesn't really make anything that we said untrue. Like, it is clunky and it does take me out of it.
Yeah, you're right. And Bruce Springsteen got a DUI on a motorcycle. So that doesn't take back what I said about that either.
Yeah.
All right. So, but he's just a humble, good old American boy,
Mm-hmm.
He's just a New Jersey dock worker, blue collar, millionaire, Barack Obama's best friend. Anyway, should we hear the next part? I just love the way the song isn't long enough for it to stick to the format of like a 2-line chorus. So it's like a big finish, double chorus, refrain, like build up to a frenzy. Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to hear the rest of it?
Yes.
Alright.
Darn.
Yeah, big ending there.
Yes.
And he's channeling his Ringo with the peace and love, everybody.
Yeah, wow. I was thinking as I was listening to it this time, he has a little PSA during all of them, I'm pretty sure. During all 4 of them, because this one's peace and love.
Oh, man.
The third one is buckle up for safety.
Yeah.
And then I think the first one is just like, thanks a lot, everybody. Good night. But then I think the third one is buckle up for safety, everybody. Good night. Something like that.
Yeah.
If you want to know, I guess listen to them all, like all 4 of them back to back to back.
Yeah.
But we'll probably not know until next year if I said the right thing, if I remembered it right.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I just like this one. I really like we're talking about dated references, but this is such a pop culture reference here in this last chorus, and pop culture. If you can remember back then, it's hard, but if you can think back to before Tumblr, Vine, memes, podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, you can think back, pop culture moved so much more slowly back then. So jokes about Hooked on Phonics were not like, dude, you doing Hooked on Phonics material? What are you, a hack?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like, it was not that long ago. Say it was 8 years ago when Hooked on Phonics was invented, or 6 years ago, or 5 years, or something like that. Like, that was not as silly and corny to do as it would be today.
Yeah, and it also only would be today because so many people probably did it, because it's like just an experience that so many people share, as a learning tool that so many people used.
Yep.
So I think it's probably a very early reference to it.
I think you're right. And yeah, I mean, back then, for generations, there were only like 5 references. I mean, I can think about that all the time. Like in the 80s, if you watched TV, you and everyone you knew watched the same shows.
Yeah.
Like there was no like,
channels.
I haven't seen that. Like, oh, you gotta see it. Like if you haven't seen it, you didn't see it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's like, what else were you doing? And this is even after that. So I love that he tells us how to pronounce it, and then it makes a joke about Hooked on Phonics.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Because would that not confuse you? Like, this is a cultural word in a different language, Hanukkah. So if you learned how to sound out words phonetically, if you got if the habits from Hooked on Phonics became instilled in you so that you were hooked on them, you would never figure it out.
That's a good point. You just you'd hear this and then go and like, you know, refresh your memory on Hooked on Phonics, and then come back to the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
It's so funny though. I mean, to read your Hooked on Phonica. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, so silly.
Yeah.
I just forgot to mention that he mentions his mother thinking Bruce Springsteen is, and I'm just looking at the the album art for this album, and I think Stan and Judy must be his parents, because this album's called Stan and Judy's Kid.
Yeah.
And it's a song where he gets to mention his mother.
I know. So it kind of ties into the title and the concept of the album. Yeah. And the cover art is like him photoshopped in a living room. It's like way too big for that room.
Yeah, like I guess supposed to be his parents' living room, and he's a giant.
Yeah, he's big now.
But he's kind of posing like he's a kid, just a big old kid.
Yeah, which if you're a Sandler fan, he is.
Yeah.
And you see above, we talked about like all this stuff. Yeah. And I like that he traded Smoke Your Marijuana for Get Drunk in Tijuana.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. He just thought of another rhyme, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's so obvious that that's what it was.
And maybe drinking or getting drunk is a little more relatable for his audience. Who knows? But going to Tijuana is probably not.
Yeah, I know.
He was able to make it rhyme with his gibberish and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. Because traveling internationally, like to a resort, like kind of touristy destination. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably was in Tijuana when he wrote it.
Could have been. Yeah, what a fun song. I know I'm not alone in an affinity for these songs, but I still often question it and wonder just exactly why it is. Like, to me, the song, like, the references aren't that deep, and it's not like a Kendrick Lamar or a J. Cole or some kind of or even Childish Gambino thing where like there's a reference that can be read one way, a second way. You read these two lines together, it's a third meaning.
Right.
You read the whole thing together, it's a fourth meaning with two double meanings each, like that kind of thing. To me, the second or third time you hear it, you get all the references. But I don't know, to me it's still just fun. Maybe it's just like a comfort thing. Like I remember these songs from a long time ago, and it's cool to see him still working.
Yeah.
And putting out a fourth one, in modern like memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like I said, I know I'm not alone that a lot of people really like these songs. Even people that they're blatantly not for. And maybe that's part of the genius behind them. It's like, it's that thing of like, you can enjoy this if you want to, you can listen to it, but don't feel like you have to because it's not really for you. And then our human nature's like, oh, I'm not taking my eyes off this.
Yeah.
I'm not missing a second of this.
You didn't mean for me to be included?
Yeah. So I'm included.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, it's definitely nostalgia for me. Is part of it. But we've said this too, I think, but he is just so silly in like the best way. And it, I think, encourages people to not take themselves so seriously. Even not take Hanukkah so seriously, or not be too worried if you do feel like you're the only kid in town without a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It's so like wholesome, just how he doesn't take himself seriously, and it's contagious, I think.
Yeah. Darn. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. You're right. Well, speaking of, do you think you have your mind made up?
Yeah.
You do? Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I think you went first last time. We did the Hanukkah song.
Oh wow.
So I guess I'll go first. So it's not a fast song. and you know, he kind of presents it with a sweet premise of like, this is for you and me, and we're the same, and we can relate over this, and you know, might just be kind of interesting if you're not one of these people that can relate. And even though it's a joke song and he's having so much fun with it, and he has a whole band now, and he's, you know, kind of picking fun at some of these people, maybe especially O.J. Simpson, but you know, he's not hurting anyone's feelings. And even if he didn't check with any of these people, they'd probably just be like, oh man, Adam Sandler said my name on stage and then he put it on an album. Awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Free press. And it's just so like wholesome, like kind of like I just said, and happy and fun, and you know, he's just playing like slow, open chords on his guitar, and you know, you could kind of sway along to it and laugh along to it, as all, and there's no way that I could pick up on any anger or like protest or anything. So I think just like the original Chanukah song, this one's a love song.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think something with the way it's so inclusive and saying essentially we're family, like we're connected through our lineage and through one of the pillars of a culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's like religion, food, art, marriage, and burial rites.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, kind of being Jewish is all those things. Like they do certain things in food, art, like they do certain things a certain way, religion. And it's just cool to, like you said, have a message at the very beginning that sets up the song. And it almost, for little PG digs at people, like, you know, Bruce Springsteen, you know, steals Jewish valor a little bit, or Yasmin Bleeth's the only babe from Baywatch who doesn't have breast implants and stuff like that. Like it almost makes them seem more harmless with like the preface that comes from the very beginning of the song. And I like that you've like pointed that out and addressed it, because I think this whole thing is like a tribute to a tribe. And I mean, I know that you know, there are like the 12 original tribes and stuff like that, but I just mean in a more modern sense of the word, like whether it's all of us have the same major in college or all of us like the same team or whatever. It's just a nice way to like remind people like we're all connected by this thing, and I think that's cool. And I agree with you that it's not loud and rowdy. The only thing crazy, the only thing erratic in the whole mix is the crowd. And I don't know, who knows like what it was like to be there, the performance of this, but to me some of their reactions are inappropriate. Like they're just like overreacting to a few things. So,
just sorry to interject, but I think for comedy shows, stand-ups or comedians kind of often complain about their crowds, and like it's just like a night out for them. So you know, they're often rowdy and drunk and heckling and stuff.
Yeah, and so I think that it stays like a ballad the whole time. I mean, to me, his guitar playing is like some of like Tom Petty's more romantic or sappy songs, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of just like strums with certain like light rock chord voicing, you know? And then also like the percussion is barely there, just kind of like rim taps and like a steady beat. So yeah, I think for so many different things, even though it's not a typical love song, like one person or one character, one object of affection and or love. It's many objects, and all of them are serving this bigger goal of like inclusivity and feeling together at the holidays. I still think it's a love song.
Cool. Yeah, I like the way you said that.
Thank you. Cool. Well, there y'all have it. I think this one's pretty cut and dry, but maybe not. Maybe different people view like the emotions that they feel from this differently. Like if
party song.
Yeah, if it makes you laugh too much, you're like, this is too like celebratory and lively and upbeat to be a love song. I don't know what they're talking about, but let us know.
Yeah.
And like we said, go check out the other ones and forget them probably by next time, like this time next year, and then listen to them again next year, and then because like I said, we're probably gonna do part 3. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and if you're really feeling the holiday spirit, you could go listen to. We have a couple other episodes from this year. Yeah, just the previous 2, and 2, 3, and we did several last year.
Yep. And then we did each of the Beatles.
Yeah.
The year before that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a lot of holiday episodes. So if you like listening to us, go check those out. And if you're here at all, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, for real. We really appreciate it. Cam, thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Chris.
Of course.
We'll talk to y'all again next week.